This is the Land Rover Defender Octa. It's the most powerful production Defender that's ever been made. 635 horsepower twin turbo V8. And we're here to have a sneak preview of it both in Edition 1 format, which is that one over there behind me, and then the standard Octa, which is this one here. As you can see, it's got a bigger air intake at the front. That's to feed air into the 4.4 twin turbo V8. So it's got a different look to a standard Defender, meaner, sort of more purposeful. It's got a protected under tray down here with some graphite on it. I'll show you that at the back as well, but that keeps the underside of the car even more protected. Strong lettering across the bonnet. On the Edition 1, I'll try and get a shot of that later. This is carbon fibre, but on this one, it's just written out very nicely, very picked out. This colour, by the way, is Petra Copper, and it's in a matte effect finish. Now that gives the paintwork some protection for off-roading, but it also gives it this very smooth look. So it's got a dual purpose there. The one behind us, you can see over there, that's Pharaoh Green. That's a new colour for the Octa range, but it's going to be retired immediately after the Edition 1's finished. So there you go. One of the things that the Edition 1 gets that the regular Octa won't get is all this exposed carbon fibre. It's chopped carbon fibre. It's waste product from the aerospace industry. On the Edition 1, you get it for these details here. If you specify the raised air intakes, it's there on the side as well. And then it's also used, as I mentioned earlier, on the Defender badge. So you can see that's a carbon fibre badge on the Edition 1. We'll look at it later, but it's also on the back of the seats inside as well. So that's a subtle difference between the Edition 1 and then the regular Octa, which is behind us. Right, the most important part of the Octa. This is a new 4.4 litre twin turbo V8. Replaces the supercharged 5 litre that used to be in the V8 Land Rover Defenders. But this is the petrol twin turbo V8, 635 horsepower. That's 110 more than the supercharged V8 used to have, and almost 800 Newton meters of torque. It's got enough power to punch this thing from 0 to 100 km/h in 4 seconds dead. Now, depending on which tyres you have, your top speed is either 250, 209 or 159 km/h. That depends on which tyre you've got, but whichever one you have, it's going to get there very quickly with this power unit. It's also attached to a sports exhaust system. Now, they've given us a little listen to what it sounds like, and it does sound very special indeed. If you think like the Range Rover Sport SV sort of noise, that's what this car's going to sound like. It's supposed to be a sports car on and off-road. Right, so alloy wheels for the Octa. This is one of the 20-inch wheel designs, and as you can see, it's on an off-road optimized tyre. There are two levels of off-road optimized tyre. There's a standard level, that's the one that gives you the 209 kilometers an hour speed. Then there's an even more intense one for really serious off-roading, but that limits the car to 159 km/h. If you want off-road tyres, you've got to have 20-inch wheels. The Octa with the road bias tyres, that gets 22-inch wheels. Really nice looking. They're either diamond turned or matte black, I think, or gloss black finished wheels. They're on the other car over there. We can look at those in a minute. But yeah, this is the off-road tyre, and that obviously makes this car just as capable away from the tarmac as it is on it. So the idea of the Octa is that it's a performance car no matter what the terrain. It can go almost as fast across rough ground as it can on smooth tarmac. So this is the tyre you're going to be wanting if you're going to be doing that kind of thing with it. One of the things you might have noticed about the Octa is that it looks more imposing, and the reason for that is it's got widened wheel arches, 68 millimeters wider than the standard Defender, this car. By the way, you can only have the Octa as a 110. It's not available as a 90 or a 130. So the wheel arches are wider. That gives you 68 millimeters of extra width. It's also 28 millimeters taller than a standard Land Rover Defender. That's mainly to do with this clever suspension system that I'll talk about later. But yeah, it's got a lot more presence because basically it's a wider, taller car with all this mean styling on it. So that marks it out as the very special model in the Defender range. This is the Octa logo. Now, where does the name Octa come from? It's a bit of a strange one. You might have thought they'd have used SV, you know, that's their performance brand. But Octa, the octagonal shape of a diamond. When a diamond structure comes together, it's an octagonal shape. And that is really strong. So what this symbolizes, the Octa, is that this is an incredibly tough car, very capable off-road, but it's also as desirable as a dual. So that's why they chose Octa, and that's why that is the logo for this high-performance Defender. Right, back of the Octa, it's got black detailing. You can see that surrounding the lights. It's on the door panel as well. So that's one of the things that marks it out as the big, powerful one. And then, if you come down here, what we've got here, quad exhaust system. Now, what they've done with this is they've managed to integrate it into the rear bumper of the Octa, and that preserves its departure angle, which is something that you need for off-roading. So when it's going up a slope like that, it won't ground out the back of the car and catch your very expensive sports exhaust on the ground. So they're two of the symbols that show you that this is the big boy Defender that you're following down the road. Either that or it'll have just charged off down the road anyway. So yeah, nice little touch that. Right, now, remember that protective cover I told you about at the front of the car that's on the skid plates? They've put it on the sill of the bumper. So you're not going to scuff your bumper, look, because you've got this very hard graphite covered, well, kick plate here that protects the bumper from things scratching it. And that is standard on all Octas. So that's a nice little feature, and that will keep the well-heeled happy that they're not damaging their cargo area as they're loading stuff in and out. Let me quickly try and talk about the suspension, because we've got a nice view of the car here. One of the things this has is the 6D suspension system. That's the one that we saw on the Range Rover Sport SV. So it's a hydraulic system. It's an active suspension system that prevents the body of the car rolling and leaning. So one of the reasons it sits higher. Really clever system on this car. They say it's one of the best off-road systems you can get. And it's going to be, it's going to be really impressive. They've tested this car in 1,400 different locations, 1,400 different tests across the world. Locations like the Moab Desert. They've done it in Arjeplog in Sweden, at home in the UK, where the Land Rover's from, obviously, originally. It's been all over the world being tested to, well, near destruction. And this system has worked really well. So it's a hydraulic fluid system. It can pump hydraulics across the car, make sure that the body stays flat at all times. So one of the little things that you might have noticed is no side steps on this car, which is something you'd normally get with a Defender. So where are they? Well, they're actually hidden away. And what happens is, when you open the door, they deploy. And then when you close the door again, after a few seconds, they fold themselves back so they're protected. Nice little touch, and that's for the Octa. Inside the Octa, not a lot has actually changed from the standard Defender in here. It's pretty much the same dashboard layout. They haven't gone to town with a different steering wheel and a different gear lever and all that kind of thing. But what they have done is improve sort of certain material finishes. So one of the things you will see here is this lovely tan leather seat. That's one of the color options. There's black leather as well. There's a couple of microfiber choices that you can have as well. Again, one of them is specific to the Edition 1. You won't be able to get it in the Octa, which is what we're in now. But you still get, your Pivi Pro infotainment system, the usual Land Rover dashboard layout. One of the things that has changed on the steering wheel is we have a little Octa button here. If you press it once when you're on road, it turns the car into everything dynamic. Everything goes red, including these little glass paddle shifters that you can see here. They go red as well. If you press and hold it off-road, it turns the car into its maximum attack off-road as well. So the Octa button really is the main difference. That and a rev counter that's redlined at 750 RPM, which is not usual for Defender, but generally it's the same sort of quality interior that you get in a Defender. Very nice in here. A few nice uplifting touches, but mainly it's more on the outside that this car gives away its potential. So that was our look round the Land Rover Defender Octa. Very excited about this. It's basically a sports car on the road, and it's an absolutely insane 4x4 off it. If you think like a Ford Ranger Raptor, but even more luxurious. They're going to limit production to about 4,000 units a year globally. We'll have to see how that goes. But seriously, very impressive piece of kit. V8 power, great noise, great looks, great off-road ability as well. This is a very, very exciting car.